Like we're live.
Let's get it.
Let's hit the floor with this cross-country collaboration.
It's a war outside every day, fighting for our lives every day. Just trying to survive in any way, trying to ease my mind, make a change. I've been going with emotions in this life, you just gotta keep floating. It's hard to feel, cause it don't feel real. Killing us off, but they try to sugarcoat it, yeah. That ain't nothing sweet though. The system's broken, but we already peeped though. The bias views in the news when we hearing it. Nowadays I define my self-experience. War aside every day, fighting for life every day. Just trying to survive in any way. Trying to ease my mind, make a change. You know the trials of living this world as a black. Racially profiled every day, that's a fact. I pray to God I'm not a victim of this shit one day. I pray to God my mama never go and cry one day. I tell my brothers when they go outside they should be safe. It's a cold, cold world, it's not made for our race. American dream, but it's still too dependent on the race. Different perception, but there's always gonna be rules to this game. We stand for freedom, we stand for quality. For 100 years we've been fighting, it's a goddamn race. You risk it all, we gon' win at the end of the day. We fought so hard, when we come out, we gon' make them pay. Trials and tribulations, they made us, but it don't change us. All this pain we endure is gonna make us. It's a fight outside every day, and it's a war outside every day, yeah. It's a war outside every day, fighting for life every day. Just trying to survive in any way, trying to ease my mind, make a change.
Hello, hello, hello. Please make some noise in the chat if you're joining us on Facebook, if you're joining us on YouTube. You are now viewing our 11th annual but first ever digital Passing the Mic Festival, hosted by the Office of Multicultural Arts Initiatives, lovingly known as OMI, at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, home of the first and only full tuition hip hop and urban arts scholarship program, First Wave. My name is Sophia Snow. I'm the director of Oh My First Wave and proud alumna of the first ever inaugural cohort, if I do say so myself. If you are tuning in tonight, maybe you know that all week, every single night, we've had events interrogating our theme of the American experiment. This is evening 4, and we are pleased to introduce this specific showing to you all. All week we've had evening events, but in the afternoon we've had workshops hosting 30 youth artist activists from across the country, ranging from Youth Speak San Francisco, Oakland School for the Arts, Teen Hype Detroit, East High School in Madison, Urban Word NYC, and the Regional Youth Poet Laureates. It's been lit. And so tonight, they are going to share original works as developed just this week around the theme of what is the American experiment. So the song you just heard was actually a cross-country collaboration between two young people who met on Monday. And all night, you're about to hear some incredible collaborative works, indie works, and I'm I'm excited. But before we get into it, I have to invite someone who will be your host with the most, the one and the only James Gavins. He is a multi-interdisciplinary performance artist from the Midwest and alum of the second cohort of First Wave. Okay. Before coming to Madison to serve as the creative director of First Wave, he served as a practicing professional teaching artist with youth arts initiatives. He's honestly one of the most multi-talented people I ever met in my whole life. You name it, he could do it. If you saw the First Wave showcase last night and you're like, wow, how did they make all of these music videos over the pandemic? That's my man's James here with the gimbal and the editing skills during quarantine going hard. James, I'm so honored to be on this team with you. You know, it's First Wave family all day. Could you please let us know what we're about to get into tonight?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm so happy to be here. So happy to be working with these youth that came through at the beginning of the week and came with so much powerful work. Lucky to be able to workshop them and just kind of share. I want to also welcome everybody again to the 2020 Passing the Mic Youth Showcase. Like Sophia said, that was a work literally from New York to Oakland. Shout out to Tozen from New York and Nyla from Oakland, who got together and made that work over a couple days. And that's what this is about. And I'm really, really excited. We're going to watch some pieces, and then after a few pieces, we're gonna do some feedback from some of the other youth and or mentors or staff in the room. And then we're gonna jump into another group. Other than that, all of these works were prompted works responding to the American experiment. What is the American experiment? And I'm really excited for you all to see what these students have been working on. And also to all the students that are here, all the youth that are here, make sure to give it up in the chat. That's what the chat is for. The chat is here for that. The chat is here for you. So make sure you give it up in the chat. But we're gonna jump right into this. On deck, we have a collab from Opal and Zaria. They're from San Francisco and Detroit, which is gonna be awesome. But right now, I need everyone to make some noise coming from San Francisco. This is a solo piece from Erzabet Gonzalez.
Hey y'all, my name is Erzabet Gonzalez, and I'll be reading this contrapuntal that I wrote this week. Black and brown love is holding our crooked spines and owning the air, which is dancing between the ammonia and weed on bark, ungentrifying and rebuilding our sovereignty, making a home of the quick stop on Estadio, refusing to apologize for taking up space, criticism like artists, we credible, radiance embodied and having spines of steel and renaming the true heroes. Second column. An act of revolution, fighting against oppression, then becoming the oppressor. A land of life and death is declared home, claiming stolen lands. To manifest our destiny and naming it good, writing our own history. With black and brown bodies removed, we make melanin invisible. Claiming the narrative ours has always come easy. And then together. Black and brown love is an act of revolution. Holding our crooked spines and fighting against oppression, then owning the air which is becoming the oppressor. Dancing between a land of life and death, the ammonia and weed on Bart is declared home. Ungentrifying and reclaiming stolen land. Building our sovereignty to manifest our destiny, making a home of the quick stop on Estadio and naming it good. Refusing to apologize for writing our own history. Taking up space with black and brown bodies, criticism removed. Like artists, we make melanin incredible radiance embodied and visible. Having spines of steel and reclaiming the narrative ours. Naming the true heroes has always come easy. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. I love a good quadrupuntal. I love one. Thank you so much. Make sure to make some noise for Elizabeth in the chat. You gotta. All right, we're gonna jump into this collab piece, but I'm gonna let you know on deck is Alyssa from Indianapolis. But right now, I need everyone to make all the noise where you are. We don't have to hear it, but make the noise where you are. For Opal from San Francisco and Zaria from Detroit.
We have an audio file. I can share it though.
Bear with us, bear with us, bear with us, bear with us. It wouldn't be Zoom if we weren't having some technical difficulties. Bear with us. Thank you all so much for being here. These young people are amazing. As soon as we get James back, we'll just roll on through with a collaborative piece. Again, James.
I got it. We're ready to go.
Back with us. Thank you.
50 states in a trench coat. 13 colonies in a trench coat. Peer pressure each other into piling together. Try to pull off being a country. Sure, they can walk upright, but still not tall enough. 15 more recruits, purchased with Louisiana heels. What a tall country, passers-by say on the street. Finally, 50 states in a trench coat make their way to the G7. But what does it take to be the best of the best, richest of the rich? Don't notice the shoes stomped on stolen land. Red is in fashion, this isn't blood on our hands. Everyone pull your weight and plant victory gardens. We need the money to pay off these war crime pardons. Sure, we have our civil wars, but we stick together. Jim Crow keeps us all birds of a feather. We're just 50 states in a trench coat. Only the top gets a voice, and the bottom is clamoring for work promised by the American dream. 50 crayons in a box fall into a melting pot, boiled down to stereotypes and statistics. When will we learn to see each other for all our dimensions? Shine a light on the Sun Belt. Give the flyover states wings. There are so many other acrobatic formations than this tower of terror where only tears and prayers trickle down. We are from so many places and fables, stories and histories, so much knowledge, experience, and pain, power to the people, to the ancestors, to the rain. But united under what? God, power, freedom? No, those words are too big, too loose, too hopscotch squares from utopia to war scares. How about united under empathy? Resources go to those who need. With every action, a reaction. With every book, plant a seed until the forest regrows. No more Liberty Bell, just tree rings, each one telling a story of how we sustain. Imagine this country with no COINTELPRO, sirens warn only of tsunamis, not brothers' blood spilling, where a man thrice your age has no say on your body. A country with schools where only student films are shot, where the nighttime brings out only mosquitoes, not cat collars, where community farms replace liquor stores. When you tell your children this is America, what will you say?
Awesome, awesome. Make some noise for Zaria and Opal. Yes, make all the noise, all the noise, all the noise. All right, before we jump into feedback for this group of work, we have one last work for this portion. I need everyone to give a warm virtual welcome to Alyssa from Indianapolis.
Red roads. The light searches for him through clouds, but can't get there in time. Bits of sun reach through cracks in between buildings as if trying to hold on to something so it can't set. But it does. Heaven. Here as it calls down from the sky and the people respond. But it never comes down. And then there is the moon, reflective and bright as dark shadowy clouds wax and wane over it, obscuring it until the moon is gone and it's dark. And then there is the green grass, covered in dark black tracks which trot fast over it. And then there are more tracks which move and move and move. And then there are golden shells that rain down seaside and decorate the ground with glitter. They lay next to the red water, the tide of which rises and rises until it falls the next morning and is gone by noon. And then, of course, but how could I forget, there are the streets. Hues painted in blood begin to blend in with the red of the streets blush until you no longer remember streets were black to begin with. The yellow lines look hot as bullets and the whole block is on fire. And then the memorials, and the stuffed animals all grayed up, contrasting sharply with the oversaturated art project where the way to stand out is to be colorless. Someone was shot here. Someone breathed their last breath on these streets last night, and that is enough to make this part of town sacred, or at least this zip code blessed. They say there's beauty in the struggle, ugliness in the success. I say there's beauty in our perseverance and the way we handle death. Look at the way we've taken everything they took from us and made a new way to mourn it. And what is that but our culture? All that we've persevered through our journey. Look at the way the sun still rises here every morning and outside. How can we be anything but grateful that the joy in us rises daily the same way, that our joy is always within reach? There's still boys playing basketball, still laughter somewhere down the road, even when you can't see that far, still bass, too turned up in a passing car, still all that this is, a community in mourning after the light was too late, after the sun had set but came back the next day to see what it missed, after heaven called down from the sky last night with a voice so loud it sounded like a gunshot and shook the ground, and the moon reflected us all in the sky like we the only stars. The tracks through green grass, the golden shell casings and blood, still these same streets communioned and washed in it.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, Alyssa. Thank you. All right. We've gotten to that portion where we'll be taking feedback. What we're going to do is take 2 responses to the piece. So we're going to do first come, first serve. Write first wave in the chat if you would like to give a response. Awesome. Nah.
My goodness, y'all are incredible. Every single piece I have something for, but I'm gonna focus on two in specific. Opal and how do I pronounce the second name, please?
Zaria.
Sorry.
Daria, beautiful. I don't like when people mess up my name, so I owe you that. Zaria and Opal, that was incredible. The way that those words were tied with the music, the cadence, your imagery. This was just absolutely everything. Like I was watching a period piece in my head. That was incredible. Your words illustrated something beautifully. And on the note of illustrating, Alyssa, you are a word painter. This is such a pleasure to listen to and to experience the way you deliver your poetry, not just with your words, but your essence. And this is something we talked about earlier this week outside of my body. What parts of me will carry over? And I think you're just like a moon person. You're of the moon. You have this beautiful luminous energy that you bring to your art and to your performances. So thank you all for sharing. Everyone else, you're also so, so incredible. But these are the thoughts at the very forefront of my mind. Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. One more response, and that's from Zoo.
Y'all can hear me?
Yeah.
All right, for sure. Yeah, y'all all went crazy, but that last one, Alyssa, man, you feel me? I was rocking with it because, like, I love hearing stuff that describes my community. You feel me? Like, I feel like people only see like the music. You feel me? Rattling the cars. You feel me? You hear that shit down the block, but like you don't see what goes on like behind the scenes. You feel me? It's always a reason to everything, and I feel like people only see that outside. They don't see that the behind the scenes. You feel me? Like you feel me? I rock with it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Zoo. All right, we've gotten through a first the grouping of works. We're about to jump into the second grouping of works. So I hope everybody is definitely buckled in for some more work. So what we're gonna do is we're going to put Jaira on deck. But first up, we have a solo from Toyin from Madison.
American Dream, a great story in expectation, a story told as a hope for salvation, of riches, wealth, and celebrations, a story that turned out to be stimulation. Getting off this plane, my spirit pacing, standing on the line, just waiting, ready for the sweet honey and bread in the land of the free. Standing up in class, my hand on my heart, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, invisible, with liberty and justice for all. Justice for who? Liberty for what? Because when I say Black Lives Matter, y'all respond with All Lives Matter. Why is there a debate on whether or not my life matters? Feel like every week it's another person, another hashtag. Praying for my brothers anytime they step out with a handbag. Gotta be home by 10. My mama's scared I'm gonna be another hashtag. Tell me, take off that hoodie, take off that do-rag. Don't wear all black. Trying to make sure I'm not put in a black bag. And y'all clenching your purses like you're not on the land my ancestors built by force. Treating me wrong with no remorse. Hold on, let's go in reverse. Stepping off the plane, my spirit pacing, ready for the job opportunities I will indulge in. Freedom to work in any place like the First Amendment states. Oh, maybe that's not for Black folks, because I have to work twice as hard to get half of what y'all got. And don't ever tell me I'm underqualified for a job again. If Amy could be Supreme Court, I can be justice. And don't let me get started on presidents. Because that clown in office, he's civil. He just trying to be little. And his followers, they just taking his signal. Think it's time to say Biden and vote for Biden. Because they throwing microaggressions like I ain't riding. Y'all think y'all slick, but y'all just lying. I just want to be treated like a lion that's rising. And no, I won't pronounce my name again. Because if you could say Adamatapia, you could say Oluwatoyin. Hold on, let's go back for a minute. Stepping off the plane, my spirit pacing, ready to get to embracing all the views I'll be gazing. Watching TV, hoping I'll see somebody that looks like me. But all I see is white girls, blonde eyes, blonde ears. I just want to see a book with princesses like me, a queen like Lupita, stereotype free, kinky hair, glowing skin like Queen Bee. I'm hoping in the future I can be fear free. Feeling like most of us can agree. Getting off the plane with my spirit pacing. If only I knew they were enslaving, depraving, engraving. I'm feeling caved in. Sick of this politician's face saving when they should be repaving. Praying for a better future for my kids so they'll be safe in the place they stay in. Yeah, this is the American dream.
Toyin. Yes, 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 yes. Make some noise for Toyin. Type in the chat. Do what you need to do. But make some noise for Toyin. Oh man. All right. So on deck, we have a collab between L'Oreal from Detroit and Sarah from St. Louis. But right now, we have a solo piece from Jaira from San Francisco.
Mama told me the story of Adam and Eve. Adam's rib created life. A mother's womb births existence. One body consumes another, digests its nutrients and throws up the scraps that doesn't sit well within the belly. Colonial illusions, preconceived illusion. In order to give life, that form of life can't exist. In order to recreate life, you have to take it, rebrand it with new purpose, the American experiment. The Garden of Eden that sits within the bowels of hell, from undestined fruits hung on knowledge-worthy trees, involuntary migration, mass incarceration, premeditated medications, vaccines, all from one rib forced into a body that already possessed its own, all from a culture forced into minds that already possessed their own. And through generations and generations, we began to believe what our bodies have conditioned us to be. We began to reinforce a reality written for us because it's easier to accept defeat than to find the courage to write your own destiny. Mama told me the story of Adam and Eve. I wrote a new version, a version where Eve is not a creation of Adam, a version where colonizers can't justify the belief of inserting life where life already resides. The design of freedom is in the rib that existed before another was forced into her body, is in the voices that scream before being captured, is in my bloodline that writes these words. Adam's ribs created life. A mother's womb birthed existence. In order to give life, that form of life can exist. In order to recreate life, you have to take it, rebrand it with new purpose, the American experiment.
Yes, 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 yes. Okay, Jair. Oh man, I'm just feeling so great. I'm feeling so great hearing these pieces from just powerful youth, man. All right. So we're moving on to our next piece, which is a collab piece with L'Oreal from Detroit and Sarah from St. Louis. And I will be sharing a video.
We have yet to give consent to name this place home. Our blood rejecting this foreign body. It knows what this country is capable of and is not forgiving. This country behaves like it was designed to. It watches with hungry eyes, monitors the tongue for mother's language, ensures no veins are left rooted in the Pacific. controls the blood through any means necessary. The epithelial tissue searching this body for lost ground to find settlement at the cost of America, the price of citizenship. My people are dying every day over and over again. I close my eyes and stuff my mouth back with America. I scrub at the skin to appease the colonizer's eye, inject America into my cells until these veins flush red, white, and blue. Replace Bismillahirrahmanirrahim with I pledge allegiance. We cry in another language, hold our children close, and try and remember why we came here in the first place. I remove any trace of Pakistan, rinse the dal chawal from my mouth with a mother's dream, spit out the eagle's wing coated in gunpowder and suicide. This body does not belong here. The diaspora pulling at our tongues, trying to find a way out of this system, this faulty biology, this foreign body. This America is just living through its design. We, the people, hold our heavy hearts and make prayer over the victims of the great American experiment.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. All the noise, all the virtual noise, for sure. All right, so we're gonna jump into some feedback. You know the deal. If you would like to respond to the pieces that you just heard, first come, first serve, first wave in the chat. First wave in the chat if you would like to respond. Awesome. Alyssa.
First of all, that was just amazing. Every poem or piece that came up, I was like, oh my gosh. So first, one, like there were a couple lines that stuck out to me, and I'm like, I know I'm gonna be thinking about this line for a long time. And so can you correct me on your name if I pronounce it wrong, but like Jaira, is that, okay. Jaira said, through generations and generations, we believed what our bodies have conditioned us to be. I like literally had to write that down. I'm like, what? That's something that I'm gonna sit with and think about when I go to sleep. Like that was loaded, and there's so much in that. I was just like, wow. And then Sarah came on and said, the diaspora pulling at our tongues, and then we cry in a different language. We cry in a different language. I think my jaw dropped. I'm like, wait, like there's so much in that too. And so there was just, I love hearing like, you know, and seeing people's work and hearing people perform their pieces, because there's so much that like you gain as an artist from that. And as a person, just like, I feel like a good poem gives the audience something to take home and sit with and really like, you know, apply it and think about the way they look at the world and kind of adjust that based on what they hear. And definitely like the poems and the pieces from this round did that for me. Like I'm definitely have a lot to sit with after that. And so good job.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We're gonna take one response from there. So we're going to jump into the third section of work. If you're having a good time, could you just write, I'm having a good time in the chat? I just need to make sure everybody's having a good time, like I'm having a good time. You say, I'm having a good time. Any language is fine. So on deck, we have a collab. Actually, let's just jump right in. So the work that we have coming up right now is a solo work from Nyla from Oakland. Everyone make some noise for Nyla from Oakland.
Wait, I'm actually confused. Didn't I already go?
Your solo?
I didn't have a solo piece.
Oh.
I didn't know I was supposed to do. I mean,
You
I
good?
could bust out a little something.
You're good.
but-
You're good. You're good. You're good. You're good. You're good. All right. So what we're gonna do is we are going to do the collab with Clay, Diego, and Zoo from the Bay Area. So everyone make some noise for Clay, Diego, and Zoo. Do you all mind going live, Clay, Diego, and Zoo?
I'm here. There you go. Okay. Oh, we have an audio file that I put in the thing.
So my drive is being away. Do you mind playing from your comp? Awesome. Make sure you're unmuted. Appreciate it.
Okay. Oh, wait, disabled screen sharing.
Oh, you don't have to screen share, just play.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You hear that?
Station is real, know the people attack. We grew up too fast, think I got whiplash. Mine made of stone, can't afford to be glass. Fiending for speed, all our homies drive fast. Man, I hope we don't crash, we be way too lax. Lean back, straight gas, 9.8 Lexus, ride of the cat. Lead through the kids, whole city told gas, but it ain't about the strap, it's the man in the mask. Cause we feel like she tight to the life, you know, like slow things, so we ride, we be spending our days, lost in our wasting away. I'm riding these scriptures inside of these shells, will you catch me in your way? I'm stuck in the bay, just wasting away, wasting away. Yeah, a state of mind like I'm tapped in with Jay. Styling, I'm on my beach tonight, man, I'm wildin'. Moving in silence, they ain't hear no chimes. She's on that differential, they like, right. I'm trying to put on for my section like Mozzie. Auntie was zombie, we don't fuck with Johnny's abusing they power, but ain't that ironic? The Panthers had Thomas, who them like Bubonic. Shout out Brody Uso, we speaking Babonics. My city got strange, no ways of the chronic. Deep East Tupac, call that Doty designer. We chasing the finest for reasons too obvious. Stay up all night, you could call me insomnia. Swimming out here while they building these condos. Look at the Irish, my last name ain't Rondo. The reason why youngins get trapped in a Fronto. Feel like you tied to the life, you don't like slow things, so we ride, we be spending our days, lost in our wasting away. I'm stuck in the bay, just wasting away, wasting away.
Call me Clado.
That's about it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you, Clay, for stepping in, being a superhero for me. What a one time. Appreciate it, appreciate it, appreciate it. All right. So on deck, we have Alyssa and Destiny from Indianapolis and Baltimore. But right now, I need everyone to make some noise. Hailing from Ann Arbor, I need everybody to make some noise for Nah.
Hello, thank you for having me. Am I
Got
doing
you.
the painting first, right?
Yep, yeah.
Thank you, thank you.
Um,
Okay, so just to like make sure everyone has time, I'm gonna start talking about the piece before you, or like while you bring it up. Um, and basically it's titled American Beauty So Far. It was written in response to the first day of live stream poems. The piece was crafted from my experience navigating the American experiment under the construct of a two-party electoral system, a system which aims to appear varied while upholding the same oppressive ideologies and systems. We talked about this in a breakout room. It was with Broya and someone else whose name I unfortunately forget, but they gave me such wonderful wisdom. And we were talking about kind of how the current electoral two-party system is a bit like, I described it as a Tom and Jerry situation. They're actually best friends, but they pretend to be at each other's necks so the owners won't figure it out and kick them both out. And I feel like it's like a similar system of holding up those same oppressive systems while honoring, like, while honoring destruction, actually. And so, what I hope to achieve through the piece, once we get it up here and you see it, is I wanted the horizon and short grass coupled with the cloud imagery to be a nod to the idea that we may perhaps be able to reclaim the American dream for ourselves. As a refugee from Iraq, I hope this piece speaks to the possibilities for action that can exist outside of voting, for the incarcerated, illegal, or those without the right to participate in a system built against them and on their backs. How do we enact change with the resources available to us? Possibility beyond hurt, possibility beyond anticipation. And actually, I have the painting with me. If you want, I can just like.
It is all good. I was just frozen fully. So just a second.
No worries.
Got you. Thank you so much for your patience.
No worries. Thank you. But yeah, I had a lot of fun doing this piece. I tried to get it all done in one day, and I did. And this has become one of my favorite pieces. Yeah. So basically, what I wanted to communicate was this idea that although we have this dark black hole that we can go down this never-ending rabbit hole, or we can step to the side and let the clouds illuminate this darkness, and that the fact that we can still move forward without entering that hole, without entering that system, as a way of saying you can enact change in your community even if you don't have access to the American experiment. And as I mentioned in the panel earlier, there are so many of us who don't have access, who don't have the ability to participate in this society, who don't have the resources, the language, the poll boxes to make this something that they can participate in, to be a part of this experience. And they can still enact change. They can still feel like they have a hold on their life, that they have a voice in what they can do, that they have a hand in what their children will experience. Yeah. So the reason I decided to do indie work this week instead is because I wanted to use this time to change my relationship with my writing. I feel like, especially anyone who's been through the slam scene understands this. There's this kind of precedent that if you have a certain kind of trauma, or if you are in a traumatic situation, you should write about it, and that it's really the primary way in which you introduce yourself. And I wanted to change my relationship with my writing and find a way in which, while interacting with the American experiment, how can I reclaim my joy, and how can I make room for it and let that be at the forefront of my essence? And so this piece is titled, I Died and Became a Birkin, after Poesess and Finn. My country has an intolerance for its girls. We put a bad taste in nation's mouth, get regurgitated like eggshells through serpent's stomach, chewed up, I must be my mother's daughter. Spit out, I must be my mother's daughter, a cowboy with scales. overstaying my welcome, being swallowed whole by python swamps. And were you born here? And where are you really from? And you're not American, you're a citizen. A good citizen doesn't ask. A good citizen serves. America made this suffering luxury. My PTSD limited edition, a purse of night terrors, and every incorrect response to the last 3 questions. My trauma come with a dust bag and authenticity label. My trauma has the girlies asking how I got it, if a daddy paid for it, if I paid for it, and baby, I paid for it. With the poor grammar, I slither out of my front pocket. Every request for an American name and explanation of being silence the sound of market value. Silence asking. Every noise that curls into an open palm, into leather handle, into please, extract venom from my fangs, drip jelly hearts off my canines, use it to fertilize the orchids growing out of my old passport, the new dream. I don't fall asleep at the border this time. I can fall asleep to the sound of fireworks this time. My love, which consumes all that is not of itself, put spring in my step. Epiphyte affection keeps my loved ones fed, and this heart a little fuller. Even my winters bloom. America, I let you go. America, I sold my devil to the soul. Thank you.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you, Na. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. So, last but definitely not least, we're going to go to our last performance of the night. I think our savior, Chris, I need you to unshare. Had my back while I was frozen, but I am back. So that worked out fully. So what we're gonna do is I need everyone to make tons of virtual noise for Alyssa and Destiny from Indianapolis and Baltimore. Unmute, please. There we go.
It was like I unmuted and then it muted me right back. But okay. Alyssa, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. America got a nappy ass kitchen.
Always moving shit around, shifting all my seasonings, putting his hands in all this colored culinary chicken, covering them in all my white powder lemon pepper.
Be a crack kid. Love doing pipes and lines, whether that be from playground to penitentiary or slavery to the 21st century. See, America be a functioning addict. Like, how you move that much coke in your system and still blame your kids for the mess?
America be the messy kids at the cookout, watermelon, red drink. America be that uncle with the full plate, taking all the tasty barbecue ribs, smacking loudly, then licking his dirty fingers. But
America be a bad baby daddy. Don't never support his children, but always claiming countries, always stealing bodies, always stealing resources. I mean, always renaming shit. Like, I don't know why your mama named you that. Like, I don't really know your mama. Say, I didn't even really like your mama. Say, I just got in her guts, gutted her out.
The time I felt most American was the time I first tried chitlins, found out how good the scrap guts could taste, stuck between 2 histories and 2 sides of it with a little hot sauce, a recipe between our ancestry and the only land we've known, saw the realization of some dreams someone like me dreamed that started with what they had.
I'm so sorry, y'all. I literally don't see where she is. Oh, all right. Can you like, I don't like your mama. Always thinking she had more than me till I show her what ownership really was. This inherited recipe of trauma and beauty
that I am privately proud of because I'm not quite sure what else is mine to take pride in. This happy accident in hot sauce, the splitting of my history on sizzling taste buds, so hot your eyes tear up when you taste it.
Pulled the wool over her eyes till she realized her kids was lost. Look, America be a gold digger, love to have but not hold niggas unless they're in prison, because chain down is the only way Uncle Sam likes to touch his victims, get his nut off oppression.
The time I felt most American was realizing I carried history in my body and bones that can be broke but never buried too deep, that can break every chain. When still chained, even 6 feet under, it'll become the ground. America is like the high cholesterol that kills us now.
And America be a nuclear family, always blowing up, or rather imploding on itself, gaslighting the Black people it gives birth to, calling them the deadbeats, the gold digger, the crackhead, when really, it's been that all along, long passing down family tales as fairy tales.
America built our Black family structure, our Black family cookouts, kitchen traditions, but also America be the niggas who attend the gatherings, the niggas who switch up on family even though they hear when the food tastes right. They coming to get a plate, but America go home and forget where he came from.
Deflecting everything. Don't want to accept what's in the reflection. He behind what's in the mirror, cause America be shifty.
Thank you, Destiny and Elisa. Oh man, we just went through a bunch of amazing pieces from a bunch of amazing youth. And I'm so excited to have all of you here working with us, getting with the prompt, adding your gifts to that prompt. And I think you all did an amazing job. So please, if you can, it won't be virtual, but give some love to yourself from me for just showing up and collaborating and bringing pieces and all that great stuff. We're gonna have a talk back, which I think is highly, highly appropriate. Hey, Chris, could you jump in here really, really fast?
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for hosting this amazing showing of youth talent and youth work. And those of you who are joining us on the interwebs, as they say. And since Monday of this week, these young folk have been with us in workshop, like you heard Sophia said earlier, but they've also been watching sessions, other performers by first wave artists, alumni, and also guest artists. And it's been a wonderful, wonderful conversation. I was lucky enough to facilitate workshop with James and Carl Iglesias, so I had an opportunity to see and hear these works in development. I feel blessed. Because what the audience get to experience today is the side effect of a remarkable process. To listen to you talk through your ideas, to listen to you take feedback and dive into that work and develop that work. We have collaborations that are representing literally the breadth of the country, from New York to California, from the Midwest to the East Coast, from the Midwest to the West Coast. It's just fantastic. And I just want to thank you all for participating and showing love in the way you did today. That's really what I want to say. And I want to open up the floor for questions and comments from the audience. Let's have a conversation about the subject matter of these pieces, how these young people took this prompt, the American experiment, and pulled it apart in such a masterful way, from history lessons to family cultural narratives, to personal everyday experiences, to this responsibility that we have coming our way next week in terms of the right to the vote and our ability to function in a democratic society. So yes. Like James said, if you want to post a response, put First Wave in the chat so we can select on you. But already I want to start this, because this is passing the mic. I want to start the talk back with the intergenerational dialogue part of the thing, so I want to pull forward coaches to speak to the works that our young people presented so brilliantly. So I'm gonna put on the spot immediately Mariah Burton, who is a coach with us today, and she's also a First Wave alumni, and Gabrielle Cortez, who is a coach who is also with us today. But Gabrielle is Bar's family, and you would have heard from the conversation last night that one's an extension of the other. So Gabrielle and Mariah, if you don't mind, why don't you start the talk back for us in terms of your immediate response to these collaborations and these solo works?
My immediate response to this, honestly, is like mind blown. Being able to see these young people pull this together in such a short amount of time, like it kind of just took me back to my experience within First Wave and thinking about like, dang, we used to really do that. We used to really do that. And seeing like y'all are even younger than we were, and like, man, I'm so like just kind of floored for real, and bringing together like these different mediums without even having the opportunity to really get together and know each other and vibe off each other's energy. Like that's hard. So my hat is off to y'all and it's back on again because like y'all did the damn thing this week and I'm like beyond floored.
Yeah, 100% agree. Having gotten to experience just like, I know how fast and intensive can go and also how slow it can feel when you're in the midst of it. And to get to see what y'all came out with on the other side of that, I am just stunned. And I've been saying it all over the Facebook chat, all up in here too. Because I think that for me, I've been wondering about what are the possibilities of this moment, right? When we're really having young folks together and really answering such a critical question about what is our relationship to country in such a necessary time, and what happens when we can, gather folks across the virtual table. And it's like, this is that, I see it now, and I'm like, yeah, I'm so inspired. I can't wait to help make more spaces like this. And I hope I get to see some, these pieces in the next draft too, because I know y'all were grinding. I know y'all are like, man, if I had another chance to do this, it'll be over. So I hope I get to see the next chance too. So thank you.
Yes, thank you for bringing that part in. That a lot of these pieces are at the beginning, and we know how these works are going to develop. Do you have any questions for the young folk you saw presenting today? Olawatoyan, how you do? How you do?
Hi, I'm fine.
That voice, that voice, that's message, such a powerful voice, such a powerful message. What was this week like for you?
It was an interesting experience. This is the first time I've ever done a program like this. So it was like kind of rushed. Like I edited my poem like a few hours ago because I didn't like the way it sounded. So it was like something different that I've ever done. Like it's a nice experience. I really liked it.
Thank you. And thank you for trusting us with your words, even though it's so early in your process. Because that's what we're about, creating family and a space where we can share the work, beginning, middle, end, and share the work. Some folks came in early and we're talking in the backstage. So I got to witness a little bit of conversation about the space and what was happening. And I want to ask some of those folks to just bring that out into the public sphere. And I hope you all are okay with that. What was it like to collaborate across states, borders? What was it like to collaborate virtually? And why don't we start with the last piece, Alyssa and Destiny?
I can speak for myself in saying, like collaborating with Destiny was so much fun. Like it was just fun to work on that piece with her. And I know we would be on like FaceTime trying to work through it and we'd be laughing and talking about all types of stuff. And it's just, fun working with different people who have the same love in this for this art form and for art and expressing themselves this way. And so, we both had that kind of background in poetry and slam. And so it was kind of like we started working together and clicked immediately because we both had that love for slam and that was our background. And it was just fun. It was like, talking to Destiny on the phone, it was so easy. We just be laughing as we work through the process. And it's been so much fun, like getting to know other people who like have the same passion and the same, you know, medium of expressing themselves as me.
Yeah, like Alyssa is my sis forever now. Like we got on the phone, I was just like, oh period. Like, you know, sometimes I'm like in certain spaces and I'm like, I don't know how this is gonna go because you're a little ghetto, you're a little ratchet. And then like, you know, you just meet people who are like, and then match that energy. And so I'm just like, yeah. So yeah, it was so much fun, especially because like I put like my lines in the chat and I put my indie in the thing, and then she just jumped right in and da 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 da, and boom, it was done like that. And as soon as I read it, I was like, this is it. Like it was done so fast, and I was like, we are just like this meshes so well. And I've never really written a group piece with anybody where it's like, oh, this works like immediately. And it was the only thing I will say, like, I'm glad we were both on the same time zone, but then it would be confusing because everybody else is on a different time zone than us. And so we would be like, all right, it's 5:30. And then people would be like, no, it's not. Okay. But it was good that we were on the same time zone, so I would know like, okay, well, just call me at this time and it would be the right time and I wouldn't be confused. So that was fun.
Yeah. So there are lots of advantages to that collaboration. When you met, you just clicked. There was somebody put in the chat, dynamic duo. And I really agree that energy was just amazing. So thank you all for leaning into that beauty and delivering something so powerful. But other folks had challenges, right? Time is clearly one of those challenges. Do you want to speak to that? What about, let's talk to Nyla and Tosin, I think it was.
I could speak on behalf of us. I mean, my room is really a mess right now, but you know, I'll still turn on my video temporarily. Okay, so hi guys. But it was kind of rough because like our time difference was like 3 hours. So that was hard because when we had to get it in by like 3, it was like 12 my time, and like I had classes all this morning, and then like yesterday I had a studio session, so I was like not at my house and I didn't get home till like 10, and then I had to do college applications and it was just a bunch of stuff, so I had to record it this morning. But Tosin was like really easy to work with. Like he was good at communicating, he always wanted to FaceTime, we always stayed in touch. So because of that, like it wasn't really hard, and like he was like, you could write first and then I'll just like get on to whatever you're trying to do. So like we were very like collaborative, and I think that like really helped. But yeah, but overall the time was a little like hard to follow, but like we still made it work. So
For sure.
Thank you, Nyla. Tosin.
I feel like it was at first I didn't know what to do. Like I came into it because they said collaborations, and being me, I said yes, but I didn't know what collaboration was until they said we got to make something, and then they were saying, oh, collaborations, what do you guys want? I was like, huh? So but then it was kind of easy doing it. It was kind of easy doing it. I got used to it. We picked the beat together, and then once we picked the beat there, we picked the central idea. And then, but the time zones was difficult because, it was like 1:30 over here, and it was like 10 over there where she was. So it was like, I'm 1:30, I'm trying to catch up on homework, and she's in the studio and everything. we made it work out. And
really did.
I recorded my stuff like an hour. I didn't even get to edit or mix it, but it is what it is.
Yeah, no, thank you. And again, thank you for trusting us and trusting us with your work at the stage that it is. Because sometimes we think that something have to be wrapped up and packaged in a way to have value. No, that message was important. That story was important. But more importantly, that you saw the challenge of being in school, having things to do, having things on your schedules, and in these 4 days, come up with something together across country. Yeah, man, we have to celebrate that, and if we're in the Caribbean, we'd be like rags in the air. We have to celebrate that, right? So thank you so very much. People overcoming challenges to make the work come out. Talk to us about your collaboration, Sarah.
It was definitely pretty crazy, to say the least, especially just like trying to balance, I think, like time, because it takes a lot of time to like, really understand and get to know your partner and like make sure that your art is equally being shown, because like my partner, L'Oreal, was so talented, and I just wanted to integrate our art together as much as possible, but it was just such an awesome experience.
Yeah. L'Oreal, anything you want to add?
It was a pleasure working with Sarah. She was so kind. She had such nice words to say to me, and she was just pushing me to be my best self, And that's pretty much it.
That's so good to hear. That is just so good to hear.
I just want to say thank you, Chris and James. So, like, when I was in the breakout room with Chris was like, you gotta say this word like that, and then you have to do this like this, but it's gonna make it, just like such a good job of teaching and helping us through this entire process, which I really, really appreciate. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We do spend a lot of time on intention. What do these words mean? What do these punctuations mean, right, Alyssa? We had like 2 seconds on that, right? Because it speaks to the intention, and it speaks to the rhythm, and it speaks to the timing of the thing. And in our workshop, we talked a little bit about slam poetry and the particular styles that make slam poetry effective and effective in that space, and how you can use that as a form to get the story out. But when you're talking about performance, there are other things that you can apply to it. And I could see that work today, and I really appreciated it. So thank you. Thank you for trusting us. Yeah. Is there anything any of you want to speak to? Because I know that backstage conversation was so robust and love-filled. Is there anything that any of you want to speak to before we turn it over here?
I'm sorry. I feel like I've been talking so much tonight. So I want to start by acknowledging that, and thank you all for like hearing me so many times. But I have so much love for this space and what we were able to cultivate through a virtual sense. I know that when we were watching the live streams, me, myself, Alyssa, Sarah, and Destiny were in the group chat going absolutely wild, the little Poet group chat. And I just had such an incredible time getting to know them. And usually it's like, I was afraid that because it's virtual, you're not going to get to experience those really awesome life-changing connections that you make when you meet people at camp. But because all of them put forth the effort and the energy and the time to continue to discuss these pieces with one another, even when we weren't collaborating, is so awesome. And I think that enhanced my art and what I was able to create because of the ideas that they presented to me.
The ideas that were shared in workshop. And the challenge of the virtual space is that you don't get the walk from the studio to the theater back to the hotel, all those spaces that also offer some of the things that you're talking about. So thank you for sharing that, because we're really curious about how and where those things are still happening. Even just to hear Zoe talk about how they connected on Facebook and they connected on this, say, okay, so the water cooler things that are significant to collaboration and relationships are indeed happening. So thank you for sharing that. Anyone else?
I was just gonna say I didn't know what to expect, but kind of like other folks, I was like, oh, I heard that there's collaboration, sure. I didn't know what that was gonna be either. But just like, honestly, like, okay, I also do STEM stuff, and it really does remind me of like a poetry hackathon of just sort of, you have so little time and you're gonna make something so cool, and it's gonna be like a crunch time, but it's gonna be really fun. And just like, it was my first time doing poetry with music to it, and we honestly didn't know how it was gonna sound, because we were hearing them separately for the most part, just sending audio files back and forth. And luckily we knew like a very fast editing software, but just hearing it in the performance, just knowing that like it worked out and sounded great was just awesome.
No, thank you. It had an epic feel to it because of how you painted those pictures, and each stanza just painted the most wonderful journey. And then the music, Zaria, and even when you were talking about like, maybe I'll choose a Vivaldi, and then maybe I'll do some improv on the Vivaldi. But I'm definitely using the viola because it's a more haunting sound. So it was also strategic, right? But then you landed on Hallelujah, right? This unending prayer that just felt like it was like crawling up the side of a very difficult to climb mountain. Just the musical choice there, the leaning, the tension, I just loved it. I really, really loved what both of you accomplished in such a short period of time, right? And again, you're opening doors to future collaborations. You're opening doors to magical ideas, right? How much more? I know I'm gonna hear Opal's next poem to music, right? Fairly soon. And so thank you for sharing that. Clay and who was that group? Clay and
Diego and Zoe.
That track, like last night, because of folks' schedules, we didn't even hear the track last night in workshop. What we heard last night was the beat and Diego playing around with some melody. In fact, Diego took lyrics from, I think, Sarah's poem and put it to that beat last night just as a workshop process to share his voice and skills with us. And then today they came and dropped this beautiful, powerful track. I believe there's a SoundCloud link in the chat. Check it out and check out the brother. Thank you, Clay. Really wicked music. So that type of collaboration happening immediately right there in the moment is what it's about. So I just want to thank you all so much. And I want to thank Sophia Snow and the Office of Multicultural Arts Initiatives for all the structures and systems and support that they put in place to make this type of work happen. I spoke a lot about the collaborations right just now because it's so hard. Collaborative work is so hard and it takes so much out of you, and it asks you to sometimes be selfless, and create space for others. But it's the core of how we function in society, and it's a core of our ability to be successful in society is how we work with others and our ability to work with others. So thank you for jumping into that process this week and trusting it and trusting us to lead you through it. For those of you who did indie work, that is phenomenal, amazing. Remember, it is the strength of the individual that makes any collaboration possible. So we did not expect everybody to collaborate this week. We expected exactly what happened. A healthy group of folks who are collaborating and a healthy group of folks who are doing individual work. And together, we're able to tell this beautiful story. This is a recruitment partnership, y'all. We are having a youth showcase tonight because we are showing what tomorrow will look like. We are in a position to help prepare the next generation. At On My First Wave at UW-Madison, we have a scholarship program and programming around the support of that voice. We have ideas about what that world would look like. And so we recruit folks who tend to walk that walk and talk that talk. We are a community of family, of friends. Somebody said First Wave is for lovers, because really and truly, last night I asked a question about the joy of doing this work, and Bamuti flipped it to remind us that the work itself is motivated by love and the joy is the side effect. Thank you all for showing that tonight. Thank you, James Gavins, for being so absolutely selfless and for just coming alive whenever you're working with young people. So I want to turn it over back to y'all and say thank you for blessing me. I feel like I can run another year to the next passing the mic. That's how much fuel y'all have given me with the work that you shared this week with what you've accomplished. Thanks to all the coaches. And Tommy, from near my office in the background, making the stream possible. Thank you all so much.
Definitely.
Yes. Please make some noise in the chat for Professor Chris Walker, who just muted his camera, but we out here. Please make some, go up in the chat for our First Wave creative director, James Gavin, with the most. Please make some noise for our behind the scenes First Wave program administrator, Tommy.
Show yourself, Tommy. You might as well show yourself.
Tommy, y'all don't even know how this man got octopus arms trying to let people in from the waiting room, trying to make sure the chat is lit, trying to make sure you got the screen. Okay, shout out to Tommy.
Hey, y'all.
I can't, I mean, Chris really said it and did it, and I don't really got to say much else. All I want you all to know is that shout out to your coaches. Okay, shout out to everybody who made this possible, who wrangled you. I know when this week first started last week, y'all were like, nah, I can't Zoom. I can't do it no more, miss. Nah, mister, nah, I can't. And you came through, and look at how far we have come. So thank you to the coaches for gathering our groups. Huge shout out to Gabe at You Speak San Francisco, to Miss Plett at Oakland School for the Arts, to Mariah Burton at Team Hype Detroit, to Vera and Luke at East High School, to Roya and Chanel at Urban Word NYC, and to Dr. Camilla Davis at the National Youth Poet Laureate Program. We got to thank you all for coming through this week. The last thing a doctor, okay? The last thing I'll say is we're not done, okay? We have another day of this festival tomorrow. To all the young people who joined us today, make sure you tune in tomorrow at 5:00 p.m. because we are not done with you all yet. If you want to learn more about the First Wave program, learn more about college, learn more about collaboration and the process that you went through this week, please join us tomorrow, 5 p.m. Central. And then we have an incredible production. You have seen him all week with us. Mark Bamuthi Joseph is sharing with us The Just and the Blind, a production that will include music and movement and poetry and MCing and all of the things that we've been talking about all week. So make sure you join us. We're just happy to have y'all. Please continue to reach out to us. Follow us on Twitter and IG at Oh My First Wave. Follow us on Facebook, Oh My First Wave. Stay in touch. Thank you all for tuning in today, and have a great rest of your night. We'll see you tomorrow. Passing the mic. Day 5. See you tomorrow.